All right, today we are getting into the real nuts and bolts of chemistry. Because here's the thing, chemistry isn't just about cool reactions, it's a quantitative science. And all that means is that to really get it, you've got to be able to measure things, compare them, and do the math. So let's get to it and build the essential toolkit every scientist needs. So let's kick things off with a big question. Really think about it for a second. In chemistry, we see these incredible transformations. Things that honestly can look a lot like magic. So what's the real difference? What's the line between a magic potion and a chemical solution? Between an ancient spell and a scientific equation? The answer is just one simple, powerful word. Measurement. We're talking precise, repeatable, verifiable measurement. That single concept is what turns a random observation into a hard fact. It's what turns a good guess into a scientific law. It is quite literally the bedrock of all science.
Okay, so to get a solid grip on this, we're going to build our scientific toolkit together, one piece at a time. First, we'll get a universal language down, then we'll figure out how to handle some truly extreme numbers. After that, we'll talk about measuring with honesty, master the ultimate problem-solving blueprint, and finally, wrap up with why all these rules are the absolute backbone of chemistry.
First things first, our most basic tool. Just imagine for a second you're trying to build something complex, but your team has no common language for measurement. One person's using inches, another's using centimeters, and a third guy is just, using the length of his hand. It would be total chaos, right? Well, that's exactly why science needs a single shared language. And that language is the International System of Units, or what everyone just calls SI. You can think of it as the universal grammar for science. It's the rule book that makes sure when a scientist in Tokyo measures out a gram of something, it is the exact same gram that a scientist in Toronto is working with. It's all about creating trust, reliability, and making sure we're all on the same page. And would you believe that pretty much everything we measure in the entire universe is built from just 7 fundamental units? That's it, just 7. Think of them like the primary colors of measurement. You've got your basics like length in meters and mass in kilograms, but for us in chemistry, the really, really crucial one is the amount of a substance, which we measure in moles. And the cool part is, from those 7 base units, we can build or derive everything else we could possibly need. So something like volume? Well, that's just length times length times length, or length cubed. Density? That's just a combo of mass and volume. The key takeaway here is that all these measurements we use every day in the lab are all connected back to that fundamental set of 7. All right, next tool in the box. Now, chemistry operates on 2 totally different, totally wild scales. On one hand, you have the impossibly large number of atoms in even a tiny sample. And on the other, you have the impossibly small size of just one of those atoms. And trying to write those numbers out longhand, it is an absolute nightmare. Just look at this. On the left, that's Avogadro's number written out. It's just a sea of zeros, so easy to lose count and make a mistake. But look at the right. That's the exact same number, but written in scientific notation. It's clean, it's simple, it's way more powerful. This is basically the scientist's telescope and microscope, but for numbers. And the format is super straightforward. You just have a number that's between 1 and 10, and you multiply it by 10 raised to some power. If that power is a big positive number, like 23, you know you're dealing with a huge number. If it's a negative number, it's something incredibly tiny. It's just a really elegant solution to a very big and a very small problem. So, why do we use it? Well, for one, it lets us actually write down these insane numbers without filling a whole page with zeros. It also helps us maintain the precision of our measurement, which is super important. And maybe best of all, it makes doing calculations with these monster numbers way, way simpler. Okay, that idea of maintaining precision is the perfect lead into our next tool. And this one's all about honesty. See, whenever you measure something in a lab, the tool you're using, whether it's a ruler or a high-tech scale, has a limit to how precise it is. And when you report your result, you have to be honest about that limit. You just can't claim your measurement is more accurate than your instrument. And that's exactly where significant figures, or sig figs as everyone calls them, come into play. They are simply the digits in your number that are actually meaningful. They're like a secret code that tells any other scientist who looks at your number exactly how good your measurement was. It's all about preventing false accuracy. Now, the part that always trips people up is the zeros. But don't worry, it boils down to 3 simple rules. Zeros sandwiched in the middle? Yep, they always count. Zeros at the very beginning? Nope, they're just placeholders, they never count. And the zeros at the end?
They're the tricky ones. They only count if you see a decimal point anywhere in the number. That little dot tells you they were measured on purpose.
So what happens when you do math with these numbers? The golden rule is simple. Your final answer can never be more precise than your least precise measurement. So for multiplying and dividing, your answer gets the same number of sig figs as the measurement with the fewest sig figs. And for adding and subtracting, you just round your answer to the least precise decimal place. It's all about keeping your results honest.
Okay, and now for the master tool. This is the big one, the one that ties everything else together. It's like the Swiss Army knife of chemical math. It's a technique so powerful it can basically act as a GPS, guiding you through almost any calculation you'll ever face. It's called dimensional analysis.
Let's start with a really simple problem, just to see how it works. We want to convert 2.5 kilometers into meters. Now, most of us probably know the answer in our heads, but how do we set up the math so that we get it right every single time, even with much harder problems? The secret weapon here is something called a conversion factor. It's just a fraction where the top and the bottom are actually equal to each other, they're just expressed in different units. So since 1,000 meters is the same thing as 1 kilometer, this fraction right here, it's literally just the number 1. And multiplying something by 1 doesn't change its value, does it? Nope. It only changes its units. So we set up our problem just like this. We take our starting value, 2.5 kilometers, and we multiply it by our conversion factor. And here's the key. We arrange the factor so that the unit we want to get rid of, in this case kilometers, is on the bottom of the fraction. And this is where the magic happens. Because we have kilometers on the top of our starting value and on the bottom of our fraction, they cancel each other out, just like in algebra class. The only unit that's left standing is meters, which is exactly what we wanted. This process is basically foolproof. If your units cancel out and leave you with the right one, you know your answer is correct. So we've just built our toolkit. We have a common language with SI units, a way to handle huge and tiny numbers, a system for being honest with sig figs, and a GPS for solving problems. But why? Why is all this so unbelievably important? Well, because without this fundamental toolkit, the entire house of cards just collapses. Chemical calculations would become total gibberish. You couldn't trust your own experimental results, and you certainly couldn't trust anyone else's. The entire magnificent structure of modern chemistry, from developing life-saving medicines to creating futuristic materials, would be completely impossible. And that brings us to this quote, which really just says it all perfectly. This stuff isn't about jumping through hoops for a math class. Mastering these tools, units, precision, conversions, is what gives us the power to understand and manipulate the world at the molecular level. It truly is the mathematical backbone of all of chemistry. You see, these tools don't just exist to solve problems on an exam. They exist to unlock our ability to ask and answer real, meaningful questions about the universe. So the real question isn't about what's on the next test. It's this. Now that you have the toolkit, what are you going to discover?